I emailed you on Friday, the current general fund, along with the spreadsheet, a running list of changes that have been made.
So, based on conversation, I think we need, what we were looking to do, 15,000 for each trustee, myself, for EDC.
Yes. Steve.
Back in. All falls apart without Joe.
How's he doing? Everybody here?
I think we're going to come in and take action in a minute, so we'll continue until they come back in. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying it sounded like, I don't speak for trustee Alfeld, I'll speak for myself, that $25,000 line, using 15 of that for EDC. What's coming on that, but I know it takes 3.
What is the town allotted today?
What's the town? This year was 82,500. 82,500.
It's going up about 100,000, basically, or 97,000. I don't know, I myself like this one, leave it the way it is. Well, if the town fund,
Yeah, I'm comfortable funding them more, provided that we change the focus a little bit, and we utilize them for some of this community development stuff. It sounds like they're open to that idea, and they're right. I think instead of our liaisons just attending their meetings, maybe we need more of an economic development committee that meets with them more regularly. With maybe a representative from the village board, a representative from the town board, a representative from the EDC, and say, this should be the focus.
Yeah, I just don't think there's an alternative in place that we could immediately embrace.
There's no quick answer.
Yeah, so.
That $25,000 that I budgeted was an alternative to the BDC. So if we're keeping the BDC, there's no issue in the budget allocating any of those funds toward them.
Right. You still have, and I guess that was my question. Like, you had a plan for $75,000. Can you do what you want to do with $60,000 and still out and give them the other 15? That's what I was headed to.
Yeah, as long as we refocus them, that's not the right term, but we put their efforts to, we address their efforts to.
We waiting for them to come back?
We can keep going until they come back in.
What about the streets? Talked about, kind of went over that at Millhouse and back, and he was done. We talked about that. Westover Street, Main to, Main to Andrews. You came up with you sent us an email, the price, what the price would be.
Yeah, I didn't bring it with me.
52 or 55 materials only. What I recall.
said from 410, correct? Okay, I'm sorry, back to streets, where are we?
55,000 is 1%, right?
If you look at the sheet I sent you on Friday, essentially with all the running tabs of adjustments, including joint rec and all these other things, the general fund, originally we had proposed 459,000.
Is this the one you're talking about?
That is the one. So above your first red line there, second line below where it says revenue, so
Yep.
fund balance reserves. I had originally budgeted 459,858 of unallocated fund balance for the general fund budget. That has now been adjusted by 25,000, so it's been dropped to 434,206 that's currently being applied to the budget.
See, just for clarification, because I interpreted this differently, is this a summary of all of it, or are these three separate sections?
These are separate parts of the budget, right?
So when I did the calculations, I only saw a net impact on the fund balance of like 2,600. Did I? No.
Right. The first part of it, up to the first solid line, this is general fund, strictly the general.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay.
1% is 55,000. 55,247 is 1%.
So, what you had said, now that we got, I got the lines in order here. But I don't know why I didn't put it in landscape, it's printed in the.
Didn't help. Not when I tried it. It still went.
The fund balance sheet was talking about, so you dropped that, what's that, 24 or 25, right?
Currently, unallocated fund balance is lower than I'd originally proposed.
You haven't allocated, so you're using more of it to balance it out. They're tough. Using more.
Using less.
Using less. Oh, yeah, okay, this is the.
They had proposed 459,000.
Yep.
So, question for superintendent, even if we allocate the additional monies, so say we put 55,000 in there material wise, can it get done? I mean, because I know we only have a certain capacity with our crew, our timeframes.
Just that, we might have to put off, being so aggressive on another project, for instance, the moving code department, or some of the work at the Water Street lot or something, but that's what we have to do, just schedule it, it's a scheduling issue for us here. But the other component that we gotta deal with is the weather and the lack of personnel because of vacations and
I can live without it for another year. I can patch, I'm sure you can put a patch on it, well, maybe one of the ones that should slide up for next year. I'm good.
Move another street out of that. Would you prefer to do that street and not do another one?
Well, you know, I don't wanna make that decision because I know you get your chips and all the other stuff. If it's, maybe we slide that up to next year, or you can.
What I did this year is we pushed really hard last year to get all our projects completed so that this coming May, the first week of May, obviously is focused on the cleanup. And then right after that, we're gonna go into maintaining our sewer lines and our catch basins and rebuilding those things, so. The infrastructure does continuously need attention, so we're trying to focus on that.
I guess the question was in next year's budget, is there a street or two that you can knock out to do west of the street and not impact the budget? Or would you rather, is it not advisable to do that?
I wouldn't do that.
Because I know that much about streets.
So again, we have a 5-year plan that we're trying to stay as close to that 5-year plan as possible.
West River Street, based on the discussion you had mentioned the last time, was that because of CHIPS funding, you can only touch the road every 10 years, is it?
Every 10 years. What that means, Mayor, is we have 50 miles, well, say 45 miles of roadway here in the village of Massena. And so the requirements of CHIPS states that you can pave the road, but you can't touch that road for at least 10 years. It's got to have an economic life of 10 years. So we can come back and pave it in 5 years, but CHIPS is not going to pay for it. It has to come out of the village coffers. So in using their protocol, their process is, we can't touch it for 10 years, so that, you know, if we want to stay up with their requirements, that tells us we have to pay 4.5 miles a year. We're falling way short of that anyway.
And CHIPS doesn't fully fund our street program.
No, it does not, so no.
Okay.
When are the chips down on West River Street?
What's that?
Headline.
When does West River
Chips
Street?
down or what's the
When the last time it was done?
I'd have to look into my catalog and I'll find that out, but typically what they do, I mean, they'll give us, typically CHIPS allocates to the village of Massena like $220,000. Our program is whatever, 300,000 or 280 or something like that, so the difference comes from the village. So as long as we maintain our level of street repair and rebuilding, then we'll continue to get that allocation from the state.
Yeah, I don't wanna screw that up.
Yeah, no, it's not good.
I'm good.
Treasurer's budget, I think we had an open-ended item there.
Where do you stand on that?
What do you guys want to say on that?
I think we need to talk about those two different options, right? Option one is a part-time employee, and option B was that we had discussed was a temp service. I'm all in favor of temp service.
Yeah, I'm with you. I know it's not what you're looking for, but for this budget year especially, we've talked a lot as a board about, over the years, our economy has continued to decline, but we've never right-sized the village, and I just can't vote to add on another, even though it's only part-time official village employee. Not at the moment.
I would like to address that again, that I think there's some things you need to look at. You would be having a temporary employee with access to our bank accounts. You would be signing checks, they would have access to our safe. I also feel.
Not to interrupt you, but I think you might misunderstood at least what I'm thinking for the temporary employee. I'm not saying have a temporary employee to do the duties you were looking for the deputy treasurer. I'm saying we've heard from you and the mayor that our staff is straight out, so a temporary employee could at least help with some of the less skilled tasks. You know, so yes, you will still have all the specialty things that you are quite overwhelmed with, but at least there will be somebody there to stuff envelopes. And if that saves you 20 minutes, that's 20 minutes. You know, so it may not be the task that you want, but it's still assistance.
Okay. Another issue that we discussed was, I will be retiring in the not too far future. I'm giving a very lengthy, or I shouldn't say lengthy, I'm making that known now, so that we can get someone in to train me what my duties. There's no one else on staff that knows my duties. There's no one who knows how to go through the budget process. There's no one who knows how to do a year-end closing, the joint rec report for the state, the village report for the state, the financial statements. There's no one on staff who knows any of those duties. My recommendation to you is you want somebody to train you to fill the position. After this budget, I only have one more budget process to go through. This could potentially of weekends in here, I spend a lot of weekends in here. I've been doing it for almost 4 years. I'm kind of burnt out. I don't want to continue to do that. That's not gonna go away for the next person either. So your idea of a temporary there, I don't agree with. Our workload isn't getting smaller, it's getting larger. The next person to fill my shoes is gonna be in the same exact position that I'm in. If I had someone to come in and assist me and I had somebody to train, I would probably stay on a little bit longer. But if I'm going to continue to be in here on the weekends and here in the evenings, I'm going to be consuming everything. So, I can plug through till I leave, but I think you need to be concerned as well as what's gonna happen when I'm gone. I was very fortunate, well, I guess I was unfortunate that my predecessor had health issues and was not able to train me. I spent as much as additional 84 hours a month in here trying to plug through research in this job. It was not pleasant. I may not still be in the area when I leave. I may not be available to whoever succeeds me. So those are just things for you to keep in mind.
Well, I discussed it with the trustees, and at first I did the pretty little thing was sounded all right, but then as I hear more of it, what do you want somebody coming off the street, like she said, and knowing all the bank account numbers, knowing all the, everything in here? Are we bonded? Are these people bonded anyway? That somebody's going to come in and say, no, there's no way you can, just get Joe Public off the street and come in here not getting an actual employee? And can you take somebody that's not really a village employee and deputize them or make them really different duties? Can they do everything? Because sooner or later, I mean, and I think she has a good point of, there's gonna have to be a transition here sooner or later. And it's always nice when you have, even if you don't have the original person that left the job, you have somebody that knows most of the job when you transition, that can help the person into that job. Everybody thinks that, this is just this is the same as out in the private sector. It's a lot different than the private sector. There's a lot just a few years ago, this Gadsby came into effect, and that caused all kind of paperwork, all kinds of craziness, and who knows, the next thing that's gonna come from either the feds or the state on what other form is gonna have to be filled out there. It's not really a form when it comes, it's a packet, so when it's temp sounded good at first, but the more I think about it, I don't think I'm in favor of giving somebody else the responsibility to decide who they're gonna send here.
So you're in favor of adding another employee?
Part-time.
See, I appreciate what you're saying, but I don't think at the budget time is the time when we'd be sitting down to figure out who our next employee is going to, or who our next treasurer is going to be. And I don't know that you find somebody to be a treasurer that would come in part-time anyway. I don't think that the person you bring in here for 15 hours a week is going to turn into your treasurer.
Well, I don't know, I'm not saying that person would be a treasurer. I'm saying what that person is gonna have is
Everything.
no,
That's kind of what Julie was alluding to, is that this person trained and potentially moving into treasurer's position.
I think
that's pretty far-fetched.
I didn't interpret it that. I interpreted it as that there was somebody there, like we have across the hall in the clerk's office, we have Melissa.
Melissa's a part-time deputy clerk.
She was here when Patty was here, so I think she was a valuable assistant or to Monique when Monique came, because even though she didn't maybe do the full clerk's work, she had an idea of what needed to be done, when, and different things to make the transition a lot easier. I think this is the same thing with this person, is you get it in there and to help the next person come along. I don't think we're gonna get a person to work part-time, and that's, we're gonna work part-time for 2 years to become a treasurer. I don't think, you know, unless there's something wrong with them, I mean, you're not gonna bring them part-time if you've got the, you know, the abilities to be, you know, to do the full job. That's it, but you have somebody that maybe they're, you know, there's a lot of people out there that only wanna work 20 hours. They just wanna, you know, that's what they want, that's where their lifestyle is and whatever. And it would be there for 1, 2 years after this treasurer moves on and be there, so when the person comes in, they can remind them, hey, look at January 1st, you gotta have this form in. Hey, look at February 1st, this form is gonna be in. Hey, look at May 15th, you gotta get this thing sent out, or, you know, those things all gotta be done at a certain time, so you gotta, you know, those things aren't, I don't know what they are, because I'm not there, but I can understand working in government before, that nothing is simple when it goes to the, when you start in the state, just like your, I mean, the formula that they use to find out what your tax cap is you make one error on that, and, you know, penalized for it later on, so, that's what I'm saying, it's just, you know, to me, it helps with the transition for the next person.
Those are the two things that have driven it with me, is the current pace, the current workload, and life after the treasurer. How are we gonna make that transition smooth in a year and a half or 2 years from now? And that's what, that drove me to put it in the budget. I mean, everyone's making valid points. I guess we'll have to decide on what's best for us as we go forward.
Tony, you just completed your first year. I'm looking for a deputy treasurer part-time that would be similar to the part-time deputy clerk you found your career past.
Absolutely. I ask her questions every day, even if it's just reassurance, if I'm not sure about something. There's actually parts of the clerk's job that I don't even know yet, that she knows, so she handles them.
I thought you came to me for the answers.
Well, yes.
Yeah, I don't,
Of course.
I'm not questioning the value of the position. What I'm saying is, I'm pretty sure every department head, I'm sure if I asked the superintendent, what do you need? He could make a very valid argument for another position somewhere. It's the same valid argument that the chief makes, it's the same valid argument the foreman makes. My only point is, I don't think the village is in any position to add to their employee base. So it's nothing against you, the workload, I'm sure it's overwhelming. It's a simple data point of, this is not the year. Not saying I'm opposed to it next year, but that's what I feel.
Mr. Shays, what do you think?
I don't know. I don't know what it entails. I know there's an awful lot of work, and I remember when Patty was here, she always stood over here in the room on the weekends, stuff like that. But, hopefully, like Julie, Dan Casey's been quite often, she's got the dad. We had somebody that's big, and we had somebody to fall back on, but we go back on, she's gonna quit. She says 2 years. She's given us plenty of warning that we're in the job, you should have somebody on base, and whether we go full-time, part-time, or how, that is the question. And, I don't know, how much,
Well, let me ask this, if we don't go this route, what is what do you tend to do to bring somebody in to replace them? Are you, how long, or before I leave, are you gonna bring them on board to do the job? In a full-time capacity, over twice the amount of money?
let me ask you a second question. To apply for this job, do you have to go through the board, you can't be a clerk, you treasurer?
It's appointed.
What training do you have to be a treasurer?
It's appointed by the commissioner.
Well, I know appointment, but I mean, the work
Clerk
itself.
and the treasurer are appointed officers. They're
They're appointed.
appointed by the board and they serve at the
So we can advertise for it like we did when you got your job.
You can advertise this at qualifications as you wish.
Exactly. And we had quite a few applicants too.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Wasn't here then.
But,
I mean, we're talking about a budget line item right now. I mean, you don't have to make a decision tonight.
Right.
I mean, the question is, do you want to make any modifications? And we can leave the money there as is, as it's budgeted, make the decision in a month from now as we get into the new budget.
What was the amount again?
It's spread over about 12 months, right?
Treasurer?
Well, for a 20-hour part-time, it was 14,560. However, last year, put in additional hours for utilization of Melissa Ward, who was our part-time deputy clerk.
What was she gonna be doing?
She's been assisting with spreadsheets, mainly.
And then temp couldn't do it?
They could, but it's the other parts of the job.
No, I'm just
that
questioning
I would be
if there
more,
was value there this past year.
that I would be more concerned with than that entry.
So 20 at 14,560, what else were you doing?
Well, last year, so you're not talking an increase of that much money because last year we put in additional money for Melissa Ward to assist me. This year, then additional money is put into the records management line for Melissa to actually assist me with additional hours. Take her away from me. So it's really not an increase of $14,500. It's an increase of less than that.
I think it stands, we don't have, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm talking about, you don't have a problem spending. It's bringing on a full-time employee. That's-
Full-time or even a village employee, adding someone potentially to the retirement count, having another employee on the village ranks. Temps are great because they can be temp. They can also be long-term, they can be great employees. We have somebody in our office who's a senior member of our team who started years ago as a temp. So you can get some qualified people.
Are they part-time or full-time?
They started part-time, they got hired on full-time administrative support, and they are now a full-time salaried member of our leadership team.
So you have all of these,
What is that?
you didn't know. And again, future hire decisions
Sure.
at your discretion later on. I mean, at this point, it's just whether we make
They don't have a
modifications to
problem
the
leaving
budget.
the number in the budget.
Yep.
Does that help? That helps you out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've all had a chance to review these changes.
Our fund balance is gonna end up to get more.
What are we projecting in the
General fund.
latest number?
What our fund balance is or what you're appropriating?
What the fund balance will be projected.
They're over a million.
I believe the unemployed
Mayor, not so much a question as a comment. I know that every elected official I've ever known has always strived to have a 0% increase, and I was in one of those seats myself before, and I felt the same way. However, I'm just wondering how practical it is at this time. We have a crumbling infrastructure. We have we are under assault by urban thugs who are coming here peddling their poison, and we're cutting emergency services. We're cutting the police department. It's all linked. Years ago, when I ran the Chamber of Commerce for 7.5 years, we would get inquiries from people who wanted to move here, businesses who wanted to come here, and what they would ask for is a week's worth of the local newspaper. Well, now they don't have to do that because they can get it online. And the headlines aren't very enticing for people that might want to relocate here, for businesses that might want to relocate here. So is this really the time for us to be cutting back on our police department? I mean, all we have to do is, it's not the community it was 10 or 15 years ago. It's scary. And yes, you kept 0% increase, so people may be able to stay in their homes, but are they safe in their homes? I mean, we read about home invasions. We read about even the best of neighborhoods where there's all kinds of issues. I just think it's maybe a little ill-advised at this time to be cutting especially emergency services. And I say especially the police department with what's going on in the community.
Is that the only department that you're talking about, Mr. Gray, just the police department, as far as emergency services go?
Well, all of the departments.
I'm just, that was a question, you're not talking about the fire department, are you?
Right now I'm talking about the police department.
Okay, so that's the only department that you're talking about?
Right now, yes.
Very good, okay.
Does that have anything to do
Because,
with?
yeah, I wouldn't want to have you talk publicly about the fire department. That's all.
Oh, I'm talking about the police. I thought I made it pretty clear.
Well, you said emergency services, that's what brought my question on, but continue, I'm sorry.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. I'm usually pretty specific about what I talk about, and I was talking about the police department. I mean, I don't think the fire department. Right, but I don't think the fire department handles home invasions and things. Okay, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just wanting to make the comment that I just think, it's especially concerning since I think if anyone on the board, the mayor knows full well of what's being faced downstairs by the police department. And, you see it all the time. Around town, people just don't feel safe in this community anymore. And I know it's a great soundbite, it's great politically to have a 0%, but I just don't think it's practical at this time.
Appreciate your comments, Mr. Gray. I certainly don't want to get into a back and forth with you, but you're right. No one probably sitting at this board knows. Carefully so I don't insult anybody here, but probably no one sitting up here knows the value of the police department better than I do. And I'd like to hire 10 more cops. But we have a staffing clause down there that, if continues, will cost village taxpayers this year, according to the chief's estimate, $336,000 this year. Actually, almost $337,000. So we have a payroll down there, according to the chief's request, of $1.7 million. It's a matter of picking and choosing. This still remains a relatively safe community, recognizing we do have a crime rate. You're right, it's a tough balance, because you sat in one of these chairs before. But we have to change the way we do business in this village. Staffing clauses, overtime, personnel costs are driving us out of business. And we have to do business differently. And if we don't do it during collective bargaining, then we're stuck with these contracts that drive our budgets. I'm all about being fair to employees and making sure collective bargaining is a balance. It's a give and take. And I hope that we take that approach as we negotiate it with our bargaining units. But we're in tough fiscal times, and we have issues in the collective bargaining agreements that need to be dealt with. We cannot continue to spend that kind of money that way. Further questions from the press?
Mr. Mayor, can I just say one thing?
Sure.
We're asking the public out there that has received no increase in their Social Security, we've received no increase in their retirements, to continually pay more for taxes. And it comes to a point where I hear these people in the community, and they're almost pleading, please don't raise my taxes anymore. You got many people in this community that are making the choice now of paying paying the bills, buying food, or medicine? Which one do I cut? Which one do I have to cut now, you know, and we can't go on, you know, expecting people that are making, like I say, retirement wages, retirement, Social Security, a small retirement, or the jobs that are out there today are paying a lot less than they used to continually take more and more out of their pockets. And it's a balancing act, as the mayor said. We have to come to the conclusion that this community has lost a lot of residents over the last 25 years. It's a smaller community than it was. So therefore, we have to make changes to adjust to those things. Yes, I mean, everybody would like to, like they say, get a contractor in here and pave 20 miles of streets. Everybody would love to do that. I mean, it's, you know, it sounds good in reality, you know. Dig up and put in 5 miles of sewer and water lines a year. We're no different than any other community in this nation at this point in time.
I think 99% of the people that have talked to me about this pending budget have said thank you, or had an audible sigh of relief when they talked about people's backs were breaking and they need a rest from the constant tax increases. So our ability to maintain service while getting a tax rate stabilized is, as the mayor said, a balancing act, and I'm confident that we're working in the right direction.
And we shouldn't discount the rate of poverty in this community, which is substantial. You know, more than 25% of our kids grow up in poverty in this community now. Nearly 60% of our kids at school receive free or reduced lunches. Poverty is significant in this community, so it's not just the well-paid, middle-class people that we're taking into consideration. It's everyone. We raise rates, we raise the tax rate, landlords have to charge more rent. I mean, it's a balancing act, and it's not easy. That being said, entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Rockwell, Mr. Carter, all in favor? Thank you, Ms. Sherrill, for all your work on this.